Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know you probably think I look like a crazy person right now, and I do. I am in the middle of doing my makeup and I wanted to break this video up into two parts. So this is the first part, which is just the base and brows. And I wanted to do a video because I've seen so many people talk in the comments about how they can't recreate certain looks or they can't do certain things, and it really is possible for everybody to do basically anything. You just have to tailor it to your face. And that's one of the reasons that I really wanted to start this channel in the first place, is that I felt like so much of the representation that we get on YouTube for the beauty community is people who have typically aesthetically pleasing features. Big prominent eyes, not hooded lids, super thin, high cheekbones, etc. And that's just not real life for a lot of people. So as I started watching YouTube, which really wasn't all that long ago, one of the things that always used to bug me was seeing people who would say like, oh, I followed all these steps and it didn't look as good as yours or whatever. And I think part of that is just because they weren't tailoring it to your face shape, to their face shape, excuse me. And I think one of the biggest parts of your makeup journey is really taking an honest look at your face and your features and what looks good on them. So it's hard sometimes, you know, I think a lot of makeup is geared towards getting the same kind of look. So it's hard to kind of tailor that if you don't already have the perfect features underneath the makeup in the first place. So this double part video is going to be just basically a full face of makeup using techniques that don't work for me. They don't work on my face shape, they don't work on my features, or they don't work because I don't like it on me. And that doesn't mean that these are bad, it doesn't mean that they're wrong, or it doesn't mean I'm trying to make fun of them or anything. It's just things that I personally don't like, either because it like really literally just doesn't work, or because I don't like it on me personally and not on everybody else, just on me. So one of the things that I really challenge you guys to do, especially if you're sort of just getting into the makeup scene, is to really take a look at your face. Because at the end of the day, I can put out a million tutorials and it's your face. And I've said these things before, but it really is your face. You have to make it look good on you because you are the one at the end of the day who is gonna either like or not like your makeup. So yeah, without further ado, the first part of this video is the face. So if you want to see how I did these things that don't work for my face and give you tips on why and all that kind of stuff, then just go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my face. Not everything that I'm gonna do is gonna be something that's like, you know, universally terrible or anything. It's just for my face, doesn't look good. The first thing I'm gonna tell you is how I match my foundation. And this is gonna be something that I don't know if I will necessarily say I recommend to everyone, but it's something that for my life works. I wear a t-shirt like every day. Basically, the only time I am not is when I'm filming and very random days. So for the most part, I am covered from here down, which means that this part of my chest, which I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but this part of my chest is lighter than my face. And one of the more popular ways to match your foundation is to match your chest so that everything blends together. For me, that doesn't really work because generally my face and my arms are showing, and so I want all of that to be kind of the same color. So I match just my face basically, and I lean more towards a shade too dark than a shade too light because I am so fair. So if I overdo the bronzer, it doesn't like even out very well for me, and it just makes me look, it just doesn't look good. So that's what I'm gonna do. I feel like this is gonna be such a hard video for me to make because everything I'm doing like goes against my core being, like I'm fighting myself doing this. But I'm gonna go in with the Wet n Wild foundation. This is a nude ivory and it's too light for me. I'm gonna go in with a foundation brush, a typical foundation brush, and for me this just is the worst way for me to apply foundation. It looks super streaky. I've just don't like it. I feel like it makes me really cakey when I use it, basically no matter what. And sometimes that's as simple as it is. Not that I see so many beauty YouTubers using foundation brushes like this, but it's just something that as I was getting into makeup, I had to learn and know. And you know, so many brush sets come with a foundation brush, like this flat foundation brush, and so it's labeled foundation brush, and you think like, oh well, that's what I should use for foundation. And I don't think it gives the best coverage. I don't think it gives the best blend. I don't think much about it. If I was really gonna go all out, I'd be like doing this all around because it would make the hair on my face stand up, but I really also don't want to look super terrible when this is over, but because it's not the point. It's not the point that I'm going to look awful or something. It's just that these techniques aren't the best fit for my face. As I've been parts of makeup groups and getting into makeup and stuff, and even I found myself doing this at the beginning, so I understand like where it comes from, but people want you to tell them or give them something that they can follow super exactly and then, you know, look amazing or whatever, and that's just not the case. To interrupt myself, I am gonna go in with a full second layer. Some people like to wear their makeup like this. For me, I don't. I've always been a proponent of one thin layer and then just extra where you need it, but some people really like to do 2 full layers, so here we go. But anyways, I know that like it's really tempting to want to be like, you know, I don't want to waste my time, tell me what I'm supposed to do, you know, and tell me what's going to work on me. And every single person, all of your favorite YouTubers, makeup artists, everyone has had to go through the phase of figuring out what works for them. And look back at your own brows 3 years ago or whatever, like it's not cute. And we all have to go through that because you have to figure out what works on your face. And the only way you can do that is by practicing. So I look like super pale now, which isn't my favorite. I'm gonna go in with concealer. This is another one of those things that like don't like to do this technique. I don't think it looks great on me. I'm gonna go in with one like super light shade because I see a lot of people do like a really super light highlight, and I don't think I can really do that, so I am gonna do it, but I'm also gonna go in hard with the full-on triangle thing, which like if you're doing super serious makeup and you like this look, like I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I am 31, I will be 32 in a couple months, and I mean I age and I have lines around my eyes, and you know my skin isn't like mature, but it's not super young and stuff either, so there's certain things that like I can't get away with anymore, and one of them is using just like a shit ton of concealer under my eyes because it will crease basically no matter what. So I'm gonna do the highlight parts and then I'm gonna go back with my more skin tone shade and cover up my spots, which this probably won't even match because the foundation is so light, but whoops. I'm gonna go in with my regular brush for this because it's whatever, but I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out first. Yeah, it's a little dark. Can mix. Also for me, there's a few reasons that I don't ever do the highlight on the chin. I have a pretty prominent chin as it is. I don't think it needs to be brought forward anymore with highlight. I see so many people recreating things simply because somebody else did it, whether it works on your face or not. And like, highlighting is for bringing areas forward and contouring is for bringing the illusion of them either in or back. And if you have a prominent chin, you don't need to highlight it forward. Just because somebody else highlights this doesn't mean that you need to. It's not even so much that the technique is bad or anything, and I bet that certain parts of this will end up looking okay on me, but it's just not necessary for everyone, and it's a really big part of knowing your face shape, knowing what looks good on you and what doesn't, and being honest with yourself about that, and not just doing things because you want it to look good on you, but like knowing whether or not it does. And also, the reason I don't do a forehead highlight most of the time is because I have very deep set eyes. So the last thing I want to do is bring the features around my very deep set eyes even farther forward. I will highlight the tops of my cheekbones and I will try to do a light color close to my eyes because that will bring them forward a little bit. Bringing everything else around that forward just accentuates how deep set my eyes are. I'm like dreading the next thing. The next thing I'm gonna do though is bake. This is more just because I have fine lines and stuff under my eyes. It just doesn't work great on me. So I'm taking a dry beauty blender just because honestly I can't be bothered to go wet it, but you can do it either way. I'm gonna just go ahead and bake. I'm already creasing under my eyes. I'm gonna leave it though because I do want to show like why these things don't work, but it's kind of painful to look at. This is just, it's painful for me to do knowing what it's gonna end up looking like, but I'm just gonna lightly set the rest of my face so I can bronze and stuff, and that's just so the powder on top doesn't skip. I'm gonna go in with my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. And I'm bringing it super far forward. I'm like removing the foundation. God, this is terrible. I wish I had like an Ita brush or something because this is just so dense. It's like removing the foundation underneath, which really isn't the point of this video, but it's the only like flat brush I have. But for me, especially with the actual contour part and not the bronzer, like I need to stop farther back. It doesn't look good being brought too forward just because of my face shape. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do for a lot of people to bring it too far forward, but some people can, and I kind of envy them, but because I really love to like get under my cheekbones, but I am gonna blend that. I'm not gonna leave that like that, but I can't do it with this brush. I just can't, I can't deal with this brush, so I'm just gonna put down the base layer with this brush and then blend with another. I watch some people contour their foreheads and I end up just being like so jealous because my forehead is tall but narrow, so if I do too much here it just makes it look even more narrow and weird. So I'm always super jealous of the people who can really bronze because that really helps to make the rest of your face not look so crazy when you have bronzer on. When I first started watching contouring videos, this was how a lot of people did it, where they'd put like a really harsh line and then blend it out. It took me a long time to like come to terms with that this just wasn't gonna be for me. I'm gonna go in with a different bronzer on top that will hopefully help blend this out a little bit more. I don't know how people can do that. I see so many people who just go straight in with powder bronzer and I'm like, how? Because this is what happens. Like, this is what happens. I must not have gotten powder far enough out, and I just don't know how they do it. How do they not? Because the point isn't to like intentionally look terrible, well, like terrible, bad form in general, it's just techniques that don't work on me, so I don't want to have like super unblended stuff going on here. I also don't do a very structured jaw contour really ever because I feel like since I have like not a really defined jaw, it doesn't sit right and you can always see like just like a brown stripe or something. The next thing I can't really do is go in with a really like shimmery bronzer. Again, it's more just I'm not 21, so it just doesn't look super great. So I'm going in with Betty Luminizer now. Lightly, because it's pretty dark for me. But for me, a lot of the time, like using warm products at all, it just doesn't look good. So even my bronzer tends to be pretty ashy because if I go too warm, it goes like straight orange. Before I move on, the next thing I'm gonna do is carve out my contour. Because the one thing like I don't like is when like right here is much lighter than the rest of your face. And for me, because I'm so fair, that's what carving out my contour does. It just ends up just making this area on my face too bright, and because I'm not super thin, you know, I'm trying to create depth on parts of my face, especially like where maybe it's not super thin, just because I don't want to look like I have chipmunk cheeks or whatever. So, oh, my nose, I have to contour my nose. I'm going with a Sigma E38, and I've just never found that contouring really works well for my nose. I also don't really dislike the shape of my nose, so I feel like it's not really super worth it for me to contour. And I'm gonna bring it up here. A lot of the reason I don't contour here is, again, because my eyes are so deep set, I don't need anything else to make them look even more deep set or close together. So I don't do that. I feel like this looks really harsh on camera, but it doesn't look that harsh in real life, and part of that's probably because I don't do it very often, so it's just weird. So I'm gonna... Okay, so I'm gonna sweep away under my eyes. The next thing I'm gonna do is highlight. I'm gonna go ahead and use the new Melt highlighter. I have mine in Stargazer. I'm going to do the whole like C-shape thing. So I'm gonna start here and work my way around. And so many people will tell you like to do this shape, but again, for me, it just brings everything out forward, which is not what I want. So, and I'm gonna bring it onto the apple of my cheek a little bit, because that was a big, I mean, I did it for a while too, and it didn't look super great, but that was a big Kim K thing for a while. And I've never done this before, but I'm gonna go for it, is putting the highlight on with your finger down your nose, and then doing the like, just the tip thing. Let's go ahead and do that. See, it just leaves, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I'm gonna go in with Score by Urban Decay. And one thing I really can't do with blush is have it just here, like just on the apple. I need to blend it back because of my face shape. So for me, having it too close to my nose and just right here, I just don't prefer that, because I feel like it widens my face a lot. But you will see so many people say, oh, just the apples of the cheeks, just on the apples of the cheeks, and that doesn't work for me. The last thing I'm gonna do for this part of the video is my brows. I'm gonna go in with my dip brow, but I'm gonna try to do like the legit Instagram brow. I have to get really close to the mirror, sorry. Probably should have done the brows first, because another thing I don't do is carve out the top, but I'll carve out the bottom, which is something I don't do, but... Okay, I'm gonna carve them out using my MAC Painterly paint pot and a concealer brush. So that is where I'm going to stop for this video. Again, it's just that I don't prefer to do my makeup like this, and for the reasons that I told you during the video. So next is going to be part 2, and that's going to be the eyes and the lips. I hope you guys enjoyed this video so far. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around. Like I said in my last video, you might want to hit the notification bell just because I'm not posting as regularly as I was, so then you'll know when I upload. So if that's something you'd like to do, it's an option for you. Other than that, I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you're at, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.